genre.
Welcome back to the Doctor's Companion presents Doctor Who The Long Way Round, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Nick Jimenez.
I'm Scott Corelli, and even this one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
And today we are discussing Time Flight, the Fifth Doctor's seventh story. This is from 1982, March, the springtime.
Yep, that's true.
Written by Peter Grimwade, directed by Ron Jones, produced, of course, by John Nathan Turner.
Mm-hmm. That guy. Story edited by the one and only Eric Sayward.
Boo.
Boo indeed.
Featuring the plasmatons.
So Time Flight is I would call it an interesting story, but it's really just it's the story of how an episode this lousy gets produced. So Grimwade, Peter Grimwade, who had been working on Doctor Who since Spearhead from Space in 1970, where he worked as a production assistant. He went on to become a director for this show, and he directed an episode called Full Circle and the episode Logopolis. And for some reason, he also fancied himself a writer and had been trying to get a script made for Doctor Who about this one specific thing, which is an evil force coming into control of a rogue element amongst an alien species. This was his idea, and so he was at Heathrow Airport one day and then was like, "Oh, it'd be cool to do that story here." And so he talked to John Nathan Turner, who was like, "Yeah, cool, let's do it." So then together they came up with a storyline with the title Xanadin, a name which was basically conceived to be intentionally bizarre. They just wanted like a nonsense word. So Xanadin, this was in March of 1980, and Grimwade wrote Xanadin, which was then renamed Xeraphin, and he wrote it, and then when he turned in the script, they were like, "Okay, great. We need you to direct Logopolis. Also, that's going to be the last story for the Fourth Doctor. So you're going to have to rewrite your script to have the Fifth Doctor." So he directs Logopolis and then starts rewriting the script to have to feature the Fifth Doctor, the new Fifth Doctor. And then he turns in that version of the script, and they're like, "Okay, great. Hey, we need you to put the Master in this because we're going to have the Master in 2 episodes a season. So the Master's going to be in this, so you need to write him into the show also." So he does that, and he writes another draft where he makes the villain the Master in disguise. And
not the Master of Disguise.
No, the Master in Disguise. So he is incidentally the Master of Disguise as well. So he writes another draft of this thing, and he turns that in, and then John Nathan Turner is like, "So bad news. We killed off Adric, so you're gonna have to rewrite it again."
Wow.
So this script which was poorly conceived to begin with, was rewritten to solve problems like 5 times, and basically by the end of this, I think the final draft, like he was just taking Adric's dialogue and just giving it to other characters. Like he wasn't really rewriting it at that point, and so like it's just like this unfortunate thing where, one, he's not a great writer in general, but then to make matters worse, they made him rewrite the script over and over and over and over again. So they start filming it, and then in the middle of filming, all of the crew were basically like, I really hate having to try to pronounce Xeraphin. So because it's spelt with an X, and so everyone was like, how do you say this? And so the crew just started calling it Time Flight because they didn't want to say Xeraphin, and then the episode just got renamed as a result.
Yeah, and
oh my god!
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Time Flight is a much A, sayable and B, accurate title for this story, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the way that Avengers Endgame should have been called Time Heist.
Yeah.
This is a time flight.
Yeah. True. So let's see. So the BBC had a rule about episodes having to have different crew members for each position. Like you couldn't double up. So like producers couldn't write episodes, script editors couldn't write episodes or direct episodes, and writers could not direct episodes. So while Peter Grimwade had directed episodes of Doctor Who, he was not allowed to direct the episode that he wrote. So originally they hired Andrew Morgan to direct Time Flight, then called Xeraphin. And Andrew Morgan accepted it and then got the scripts and was so unimpressed with Grimwade's scripts that he actually left at the last minute. Because he thought it sucked so much. Now, here's the funny thing about Andrew Morgan. Andrew Morgan had not directed an episode of Doctor Who yet at this point. However, he would go on to direct a couple of Doctor Who episodes. And the fact that he turned this down because the scripts weren't strong enough is made all the funnier when you find out that the episode that he did direct was Time in the Rani.
Oof.
Yep. So...
Wow.
Yeah.
Out of the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So Andrew Morgan...
Now this is cinema.
Andrew Morgan leaves, and they have no choice but to turn to Ron Jones, who John Nathan Turner had recently hired as a first-time director to make Black Orchid. So he basically was like wrapping up Black Orchid, and John Nathan Turner was like, good news, you're going back on set right now. And so it was like with like days notice or something like that.
Wow.
Ron Jones came in and directed this. So it's sort of like, we talk about all of these things and you just sort of start to realize like, okay, this episode's really bad, but in retrospect, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, like if you look at where it came from, or like the road that led here, it just seems like a series of passing the buck.
Yeah, for sure.
And like trying to fix something. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I didn't hate this, to be very honest.
Well, I mean, funny you should say that, because so at the time, and this is kind of funny. At the time, the first episode of Time Flight, due to the final episode, the way that the show ended at the end of Earthshock, the previous serial, Time Flight was the 26th most watched episode of British television ever.
Wow.
And it was the most successful episode in John Nathan Turner's entire producership. It was huge, massive. It was a massive, massive hit. And it was basically the reason the first episode of Time Flight, the numbers that he got on that episode were the reason why the BBC refused to hire anyone else for so long. No matter how many times John Nathan Turner tried to get out of this show, the BBC would constantly say, if you leave, we're going to cancel it. Yeah.
Wow.
And so John Nathan Turner felt trapped on Doctor Who, and it's because of this episode, because of how well it performed. Yeah.
Look, we can't fire the guy that made Time Flight. Look at these numbers. The people love Time Flight.
And love it they did, because in Doctor Who Monthly 69, issue 69, there was a poll. Yeah. There was a poll that was basically like, what was the best serial of season 19, and it was placed very high above Castrovalva, Ford of Doomsday, and Kinda.
What?
Yeah. And in the so it was like very, very high as far as like people's opinion of this story when, like, shortly after it happened. Then in 2009, it was literally, that was issue 69 of Doctor Who Monthly. In Doctor Who Monthly 413, they made a mighty 200 poll, which was like the 200 stories that had been produced so far. They were like, let's rank them. Mm-hmm. And it was cited at 196.
Wow.
So,
it's like a reverse prequel situation.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars prequels.
Yeah. So it actually it got much worse in people's eyes, and one of the explanations for this is that there had been a massive shift in negative momentum due to fan leaders like Paul Cornell, who wrote about Doctor Who a lot and just completely savaged this story every chance that they got. And here's like a very good quote where it says, somebody somewhere should have thrown this script in the bin the moment it had a Concorde crash landing in Jurassic England. So it was just like, everybody really hated this. All of the sort of like Doctor Who scholar people really hated this story. And so it just grew in legendary status as one of the worst Doctor Who stories ever.
That's so interesting to me. It's so interesting how a fandom can influence the legacy of a thing in the canon.
Mm-hmm.
It's I don't know. I mean, like, I think Doctor Who episodes have had weirder, worse openings than a plane arrives in the Jurassic period.
Yeah, I guess my issue with it is that they don't do anything with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're like, we sure are in the Jurassic period. You'll never know why or have any reference to that, but we could literally be anywhere. Sure.
It's like we're trapped in the Jurassic period, and our main villain is like a mud wizard.
A mud wizard of the yellow face variety.
Sure. Yeah. And I guess in retrospect, that is revealed to be like the master caking himself with mud.
Right.
We'll talk about it.
Time Flight Part 1. Written by Peter Grimwade. Directed by Ron Jones. Produced by John Nathan Turner. Script edited by Eric Sayward. Air date March 22nd, 1982. A Concorde flight heading into Heathrow from New York City suddenly vanishes on the radar. Meanwhile, in the TARDIS, the Doctor, Nyssa, and Tegan talk about Adric's death. Tegan begs the Doctor to go back in time and save him, but the Doctor refuses, saying there are laws of time even he cannot break. To try to cheer the girls up, he promises to take them to the Great Exhibition of 1851, but encounters some turbulence and ends up landing in Heathrow Airport instead. The Doctor references UNIT to get them out of trouble, and as a result, the TARDIS crew is roped into helping with locating the missing plane. They board a similar Concorde, and the captain follows the flight path and descent of the original plane to try to discover any cause for the disappearance. After a bit more turbulence, however, the plane lands safely back at Heathrow. Nyssa suddenly sees a bunch of skeletons and screams, alerting the doctor that something is wrong. Because of, quote, psychokinetic energy, they are all under the illusion that they are at Heathrow, but once the illusion is broken, it is revealed that they have traveled back in time 140 million years to the Jurassic era. And I wish there were dinosaurs or something, because that would be way cooler, but instead there's a large pyramid-like citadel in the distance, the missing plane, the original crew and passengers, all of whom seem to still be under the influence of the illusion, except for Professor Hayter, who has resisted. 2 of the officers aboard the second plane see people carrying the TARDIS to the Citadel and investigate, but they are captured and also hypnotized, and there's a sudden appearance of blob creatures called plasmatons for some reason.
We open somewhat auspiciously. Adric is dead. The boy is dead. Nothing else will make sense if the listener doesn't understand that.
That's what would start the opening crawl. It was Adric is dead.
Adric is dead. Man, my favorite post-crawl thing is in Revenge of the Sith, which is war.
Yeah.
The Adric scene was weird. I wrote in my notes, and I actually did take notes, so we for this one just to kind of keep track of all the stuff that happens. They kind of treat Adric dying like a pet, like an animal's died.
Yep. I mean, he was kind of a pet.
Yeah. There was just like the fact that he's like, oh, it's okay. Like we'll go to the fair. Let's go to the first ever fair. Like, come on, man. Like, he's just in a big rush for Nyssa and Tegan to like not be sad anymore. Like,
I'll buy you both goldfish.
Look, that one can be Adric and this one can be Adric.
Adric 1 and Adric 2. You lose one and you'll get 2.
I'm a good dad.
And Adric would have loved that joke. He loves math.
He loves math. And he loves the Victorian science culture.
Oh, man.
Shout out. I like they bring up Varsh, his brother, which I had totally forgotten about.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so they don't go to the Great Exhibition of 1851. They go to Heathrow Airport again. Which made me laugh when they look out the window, or he pulls up the blinds and it just says like Heathrow.
Yeah. Yeah. A whole airplane disappeared also.
Yeah. I also was a really big fan of the doctor saying it's not a matter of where, but when.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, of course. And I'm always a big fan of the doctor pulling like really like cheesy one-liners like that.
Sure.
You know, I'm always a big fan of that, where it's just like, this is a time travel show.
Why do I always kind of get in a good way, I always get like Captain Hammer vibes from the Fifth Doctor.
Oh, interesting.
That's bizarre.
I don't know. It's just like his square chin and his puffed out chest, and he's just like he's blonde. I don't know. It just get kind of like a Wonder Boy like quality from him that's missing from the other doctors. He just seems like the most jockish doctor to me in a good way.
Honestly, huge missed opportunity by Dan Harmon and crew over at Community for not having Nathan Fillion play Dr. Spacetime or Inspector Spacetime.
Inspector Spacetime? Yeah.
Like an American Inspector Spacetime?
Yeah, right.
When it becomes like a shitty like hour long.
Right.
It's not a question of where, but when. Bloop, bleep, bloop, bleep. I haven't thought about Nathan Fillion in a minute. I would picture like that being like a CSI Miami kind of thing. Like, definitely.
Oh my god,
Space
yes.
time.
He puts on the sunglasses.
Not a matter of where, but when. Yeah.
Jake Johnson's like his bartender.
Yeah.
Look, space time. You can't just go around busting heads, man. Have a beer. Space time.
Your Jake Johnson sounds a lot like your Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, wow. Kind of similar vibes.
Yeah. Oh man.
I really liked the airplane pilots in this. They had like a real fun attitude the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like them. I think this is one of the things that I think a particular storyline with them is one of the things that Cass probably hates the most about this story.
Oh,
Bilton.
Oh, yeah.
Bilton and Scobie. Bilton and Scobie are the main two that I like.
Yeah, I know your brand, Cass. I know what you hate.
Yeah.
I also know what you love.
Yeah.
So there's like missing planes and missing air flight personnel. Bippo Bappo Bongo. We end up in the Jurassic era. They find the missing Concorde.
I do love all the adventures in the airport. Like I love them just being like just appearing in the middle of Heathrow Airport and some security guy going, I don't think that belongs there. Just oi,
That's weird.
oi. Very strange indeed. Is it just me, or was everyone at Heathrow, or like at least most of the people in Heathrow, I feel like Tegan was the only Australian.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
No.
I feel like everyone else was just regular British, not Australian.
Yeah, I actually had to keep reminding myself, like, oh yeah, they're in Heathrow. Like,
yeah, right. Okay. I'm glad that
it's weird.
It's not just me.
It's somehow weirder when they're like in Spain and everyone. It's not weirder when they have like when they're in Spain or Ireland and everyone has a British accent. It's somehow less weird than when they're in Australia and no one is speaking with an Australian dialect.
Yeah.
Oh, Heathrow's in London.
Oh, my bad.
Really? Oh, I thought it was like the Sydney airport.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, she kept asking like, she was like, "That's Heathrow Airport," and she was acting like she was home. And so I think I just assumed that she was in Australia.
I think Tegan, if I remember correctly, Tegan's whole thing is that she has like an aunt or something in London, and then like that's why she's in London, and she's like, "I'm from Australia. I'm a plucky stewardess." Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So
okay, for some reason I just assumed we were like in Australia whenever.
No.
Heathrow. Maybe because I just say it.
Yeah. Okay. Also, Heathrow.
That's why everyone's British.
Heathrow sounds like an Australian thing to me. I don't know. Heathrow.
Oh, you're flying over to Heathrow.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, where you flying out from? Heathrow. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, good on you.
Anyway, okay. Anyway, but yeah, I love all the airport stuff. I actually don't mind part one. It's as we go along that the story is like, yikes.
My main thing with this story, Yellowface aside,
that's the obvious thing for sure.
Planes are cool, and the story manages to make planes not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they kept really talking up the Concorde like it was some state of the art. And maybe it was back in, I actually wanted to almost look up the Concorde, but I don't know. It was just like a weird 80s plane.
Mm-hmm. It's like a weird commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It'd be like if, the 13th Doctor was like, we have to find the 2020 Nissan Altima. It's so cool.
But
yeah, and then like those weird, it ends with the weird bubble monsters, the plasmatrons.
Oh yeah, right. Plasmatons.
Plasmatons.
The plasmatrons are very different.
Blobs of protein.
From the atmosphere. Assembled from random particles that are held together by the same kinetic energy. I just read the cliffhanger in the TARDIS wiki. And I know you only heard half of that because you all fell asleep halfway through me saying that.
which is a shame because they look kind of cool. I mean, as far as like on the menu of Doctor Who cliffhangers where it's like hanging off of a cliff or about to get like drowned or something's about to overwhelm the hero. I like monster reveals. And so the sudden reveal of the plasmaton, I was like, oh, what are those things? Which is like an okay reaction to it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. All right.
They look like rocks. They look like rock people. Like
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the grand scheme of things, the cliffhangers in this are not the worst cliffhangers. Like, none of them are executed particularly well, but I think that, like, with a better writer, these cliffhangers could have been fine. They could have been elevated to fine.
I mean,
Acceptable.
Yeah, acceptable.
I mean, it's literally kind of like an Axe Cop reveal. They just like appear,
Yeah. God.
and then there were plasmatons.
Oh, man, my kingdom for, like, Axe Cop as a companion.
Doctor, I am Axe Cop. I can't do it.
I will cut their head off.
Heads off. That would be great if the Doctor had like a barbarian companion.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, can't
Wait for that one.
Oh no! Is there a companion I haven't met yet?
Oh, yeah, there's lots of companions you haven't met yet.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jamie.
There's one coming that you're going to be really into if that's what you like.
Oh, I'm excited.
I mean, Jamie's kind of
Do
a
you
barbarian.
I was going to say Jamie's the closest I've gotten so far.
Do you like feral barbarian women? Because
Because the Doctor does.
yep.
He loves keeping her around because he likes calling her an idiot all the time.
That's
You
true.
stupid moron.
Very British of him.
You stupid beast.
Beast. I wish 5 was mean. That's what that would have been cool. You math beast.
5 being mean is what gave us 6.
That's true.
That is true.
Time Flight Part 2, written by Peter Grimwade, directed by Ron Jones, produced by John Nathan Turner, script edited by Eric Sayward, air date March 29th, 1982. So the person in charge of this whole thing is a guy calling himself Khalid, and the character is a horribly offensive yellow-faced caricature for no reason. He has a crystal ball that he says nonsense words into to manipulate the energy. Hooray! Nissa is somehow sympathetic with all the energy, so she starts getting weird visions and hearing voices, and is cocooned by some of the plasmatons. Tegan is left to watch after Nissa, and the Doctor leaves for the Citadel with the Professor and plane captain in tow. They encounter Khalid in the Citadel, as well as a bunch of the passengers brainwashed into trying to break into a closed-off chamber inside the pyramid. Khalid wants the Doctor's TARDIS and tries to brainwash the Doctor, the Professor, and the Captain into handing it over. The plasmatons encasing Nissa disperse, and the girls head into the Citadel, where they see a bunch of illusions trying to stop them from proceeding, including an apparition of Adric who tells them he'll die if they continue, but they see through the illusion and enter the center of the Citadel. Nissa throws an orb into this big tank in the middle of the room, and there's an explosion. The feedback causes Khalid to be thrown onto the ground, and his face starts melting more than it already is, but it's a mask, and underneath it is the Master.
We meet bad news. We meet Khalid. It sucks. He looks like, he's got like the Fu Manchu mustache. He's wearing like robes.
And they're like, it's not yellow face if he's not yellow. Like, it really feels like they're like, oh man, we found a great loophole. We make his skin gray and like it's just goop falling off of his face. He looks like if you just submerged yourself in a bathtub for like hours and got pruny like all over your body, including your face. And then that pruniness was also like Clayface not being able to quite use his powers properly. Like he can't quite get there. He's a little tired. Yeah, I don't know. It's real bad. It looks terrible.
It's like if Ursula the Sea Witch from Little Mermaid was melting. Like, that's it's terrible.
It's some of the worst makeup. Like, I wonder if their makeup guy or lady like just couldn't make it to set for this, and John Nathan Turner was just like, I'll go out. It was just
put some clay mask on his
just
face.
took Anthony Ainley and just smushed some like muddy clay like all over his face, stuck on some Fu Manchu facial hair, and was like, there you go.
Like, I guess
Up and at him, Tony.
I guess kind of like a metagaming excuse is that it's like the master just pulling a disguise out of his butt and just like gathering what he had in his
it literally looks like he pulled it out of his butt.
Yeah.
It is in a show that is notorious for having not great makeup. This is probably the worst makeup in the entire series.
I felt bad for the actor until I found out who it was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this poor day player.
Yeah, not a day player, but also like I just hate the way he sounds and the little like the weird like chanting thing that he does. Like I just hate everything about what's happening.
Point?
It's the worst.
Like, what is the point?
I don't know.
I think they just
why is he even doing it? There's no one around. He's not putting on a show for anyone but us.
I know. It's bad. It's bad, fam.
It's so bad.
That's true. He's only tricking us, the viewer.
Yeah, there's no one in the room with him. It's almost as if
like the people.
It's almost as if
the people that he like brainwashed from the other plane don't know who the master is. Like it's not like
it's almost as if Peter Grimwade had already written a story where this was the legitimate villain, and then was just like, you need to make it the master, and so he only wrote the cliffhanger at the end of part 2, and then just didn't change anything else. I don't need to change anything else. Who cares? It's a kid's show.
Some stuff that isn't Khaled. Nyssa gets like gets like cocooned by the bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nyssa getting possessed was weird.
Yeah.
And was
this the one where she couldn't breathe for a second? Was that in this one, or is that part 3?
Oh, in real life?
No. In the show, where she's like leaning against a wall or against a rock, and she's like, "Is that in this one?"
Yes,
I think that's in this one.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a bummer.
Yeah, she's in a coma for like 10 minutes.
I don't like watching Nyssa struggle.
Yeah,
I know.
She's been through so much.
She has. You don't know the half of it.
But then she frees herself, and the girls are like walking to the Citadel, and they meet holographic Adric.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I really liked the thing about how they had to trick the audience, like by including him in the credits.
Yeah.
And I thought that was savvy. But like, he's technically in this episode.
Yeah. They didn't want anyone to know that he died. They're like, oh, they might know that he died. They might figure out that he died. And it's like, no companion had ever died on the show. So like no major one anyway. So it's like they would have just assumed he left. They wouldn't know that he died. It would still be a shock.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs to chill out.
But I'm glad that was Adric's final scene now.
That's really how I'd like to sum up this whole story. Everybody needs to chill out. Anthony Ainley needs to chill out.
Mm-hmm.
Tegan probably needs to chill out.
But I'll admit, guys, this twist got me. I did not see it being the master coming.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys brought it up or I had just forgotten about it, but when he was like, you stupid idiot, it's me. And he's just like laughing. I was like, whoa. Okay.
It's like what's her name from Arrested Development?
Yeah, for sure. For real.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, it's you. I didn't know this is a master story.
Oh.
Yeah. The only thing that would have made me happier if it was a Dalek in disguise.
Yeah. Oh man. You could have fit a Dalek under there. You know what else he reminded me of was the fishbowl magician in The Prestige.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Also a disguise,
exactly. Yeah. Same shape, because he had to hide a fishbowl under there.
Time Flight Part 3, written by Peter Grimwade, directed by Ron Jones, produced by John Nathan Turner, script edited by Eric Sayward, air date April 5th, 1982. The Master is stranded and needs a new power source for his TARDIS, which is what is in the central chamber. He steals the Doctor's TARDIS to try to get in the chamber another way, since the brainwashed prisoners are working too slowly, but the Doctor rigged it so it won't take him to the chamber. So he formulates another plan inside his own TARDIS. The captain and his co-pilot also sneak aboard. The Doctor and the Professor get inside the chamber, and the Doctor is reunited with Nyssa and Tegan. Inside the tank is the consciousness of a whole species called the Xeraphin, who came here to escape an interplanetary war, and that is what the Master wants to use to power his TARDIS. The Professor is drawn into the consciousness with promises of untold knowledge, and his body is destroyed and his consciousness is absorbed. There's a good and evil entity, and they're struggling for control. Meanwhile, inside the TARDIS, the Captain breaks stuff to sabotage the Master, even though his TARDIS could feasibly be the only thing to get them back to modern-day England, but whatever. So the Master catches them and kicks them out and rigs some kind of timey-wimey science loop and wins over the Xeraphin, and the tank is transferred inside the Master's TARDIS.
And then, yeah, it's a Master story. So part 3, we start just getting into the, he wants stuff out. He wants TARDIS guts.
He always wants TARDIS guts.
Give me TARDIS guts.
My other thing about this is this wouldn't be as terrible if it was only 3 parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, watching it, I was like, oh, the Master's been revealed already. What else can happen? Womp,
Turns
womp.
out, not much.
Yeah.
Not much.
The Doctor identifies the aliens, that they're something called, they're called the Xeraphin, which this episode was almost called. A professor dies. This is like the 3rd time in a row that a scientist professor episode has run into a machine to die. Directly collided with a machine and then had to Star Trek die.
There can only be one.
Yeah. What was the cliffhanger for part 3?
The Master has finally defeated the Doctor once and for all.
Oh, it was what does that mean? It means the Master's defeated me once and for all. To the camera.
And then literally you come back and it's just like Tegan going no, he hasn't. Don't say anything like that. He's like, oh, you're right. I'll think of something.
Oh my gosh. The story sucks. I'm so angry.
It means we've lost. No, it doesn't. You're right.
You're right. I just a bit of positive thinking.
Can you imagine just randomly in episode 9 or something, the Princess Leia's it means we're all dead. Oh wait. Come on. You're supposed to be the dad.
Time Flight Part 4, written by Peter Grimwade, directed by Ron Jones, produced by John Nathan Turner, script edited by Eric Sayward, air date April 12th, 1982. The Master tries to leave with a bunch of the brainwashed prisoners as hostages, but can't due to the sabotage. The Doctor and the Master negotiate, and the Doctor manages to get all the passengers released, and they swap some parts so that both TARDISes will work. Everyone gets on the second plane, and the Captain flies them out of there and back to modern-day England with help from the Doctor. When the Master tries to land, his TARDIS is shunted back into the time vortex, and he's sent to the Xeraphin's original planet. The Doctor is in a hurry to leave, and as a result, leaves Tegan behind at the airport she's been trying all season to get back to, but now she's really sad about it. And yes, that's all that happens in this part.
Wow. And so, yeah, the two airplane pilots, they sabotage the TARDIS because they think that the Master's trying to steal it. But he really just needed one part. So they just jacked up the TARDIS for no reason.
We've talked about this on the show, right? Ooh. I hate it when people that are not the Doctor fly the TARDIS. Yes. I hate it so much.
I know you do.
They're airplane pilots, Cass.
God, I don't care. Even when Nyssa does it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I know you're a super smart alien princess or whatever, but come on.
Oh, some stray notes. There's a part in episode 3 where Professor Hader is telling, I think it was Nyssa, was like, you have to focus on something you're very sure of. Family, fish and chips, anything. And there's a really cool part in the 4th episode where Tegan says that the Doctor has a habit of collecting spare parts. I'm like, oh, I like that.
Yes.
Trying to find the positives.
Yeah.
There's a part where in part 4 where they're all just like bumping into each other at the end, and one of them says, "This place really is like Heathrow."
And then what else? I don't know. It's over. They go home.
I mean, freaking Tegan leaves the show.
Yeah. Well, she just gets left behind. This was written in because John Nathan Turner wanted a cliffhanger. He wanted to end the season on a cliffhanger because this story is actually the end of season 19.
Great.
They should have ended it with Earthshock.
Yep.
Like, how do you beat a companion dying for the
I don't
first
know.
time?
They should have ended it with Earthshock and then just scrapped this episode entirely. The story.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I will say that I do like that the airplane pilots are like down for anything. They're just like, oh yeah, seems legit. Whatever.
Yeah, so much.
What if all the pilots had become new companions?
Oh, hell yeah.
And they just stayed dressed like pilots all the time.
I mean, Tegan's in her dumb
Stewardess outfit.
yeah.
Sure.
And they just kept calling him Captain Doctor.
Captain Doctor?
Captain Doctor.
You are now free to move about the cabin.
Did we talk about how Tegan flight attendants is all of the people in the Jurassic Age?
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, there was a really weird part where someone was like, they're your responsibility, Tegan. I'm like, why? What? Since when? Because she's a flight attendant?
Yeah, she's got to go back to doing her job. She's really good at it. I'll say that.
How hilarious would
probably
have been
the only thing she's been good at this whole time.
Yeah, it'd be like if they found like a random episode where Amy had to like pretend to be a kissogram person again, but like on a different planet.
Yeah. I really hate season 19 Tegan. She's real not good. Season 20 Tegan is much better.
Oh, cool.
I think. But maybe Cass disagrees. I don't know.
I don't remember what stories happen in season 20. I mean, I know like 5 doctors.
And they get what's his face? One that
Turlo?
Yeah, Turlo.
Yeah.
Turlo and Tegan are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like season 20 Tegan a lot more than season 19 Tegan. Season 19 Tegan, she's just constantly whining about wanting to go home, and then she gets to go home and she's just like, being with the doctor's not too bad. Oh, they left me. Okay. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, it was really awkwardly executed.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of like an afterthought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really weird coming off of like such a deliberate, definitive end for a companion, literally the episode before.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird.
It was weird.
Is this one of the weirder companion departures that we have? No pun intended.
Well, that's the thing. It's not a companion departure. It's just a cliffhanger.
Oh, so she comes back.
Yeah, she comes back in season 20.
It's like Friends.
Yeah.
She comes back after like a story.
She gets off the plane.
No, she's in the very next story.
Is she?
Yeah.
I thought she leaves and then like I don't remember.
No, I think the very next story is the one with Omega, right? Omega?
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Isn't that the very next? And that's her first one, right? First one back?
I don't know. It's been a while.
The next one is Arc of Infinity. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Tegan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because she's just like vacationing.
Right.
And then the doctor's like, oh, you're here.
Oh, you again.
What?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you again. And she's like, you left me behind. He's like, I thought you wanted to be there. Well, all right, come on.
That was 38 years ago.
I think the worst companion departure is Dodo. because that happens off screen.
Yeah, Dodo is
and we never see
definitely
her
the
again.
worst one. Yeah, for sure. And Nick is thinking right now, there's a companion named Dodo.
Is that her
And
name?
I wish she was.
that's her
I wish
name,
she was
Dodo.
cooler. Yeah.
Is that her name, or is that what the doctor calls her?
No, that's her name.
Okay.
I think her name is like Dorothy, and she's like, I called Dodo, and I'm like, why?
I call Dodo?
Or I'm called Dodo.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, next time we talk about the Fifth Doctor, the first story of season 20 is Arc of Infinity, and that's Omega.
Oh, right, because season 20 is the one with all the return villains.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the anniversary.
I like Omega.
Yeah.
I got nothing against Omega.
Have you met him? You haven't met him. You don't know Omega
Then why have we talked about him before?
because we've just talked about him in general.
Oh.
I brought him up mostly about pronunciation.
It's like Time Lord Mythos stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about him.
We haven't even really talked about him. We just talked about the pronunciation of his name, which is he's Omega, but for some reason I got yelled at a lot because British listeners was like, it's actually Omega. Like, I really don't think that's true. I think
Well, I'm just glad they're still talking to us.
you're trying to make a fool of me.
Oh, this guy looks sick.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. Looks like the Witch King.
Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, kind of.
that's next time. Arc of Infinity.
Oh, time flight.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Next season has some good stuff for the Fifth Doctor, honestly, because it's like Arc of Infinity, Snake Dance, Modern Undead,
Ooh.
Terminus, Enlightenment, and the King's Demons. Like, that's a good season.
Oh, cool. I'm really hungry to like the fifth one. I know he's like David Tennant's favorite.
Yeah.
Is Modern Undead the one with the Brigadier?
Yep.
Hell yeah. Okay, cool.
Yep.
I liked the I like the little Brigadier reference that we get when he's like, oh, or is he general by now?
Oh yeah, that was really good. Yeah, and then I think the season finale ish, air quotes, because it's not like a technical. It's like technically a special, but it's the season finale of season 20 is the 5 Doctors. So.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
That's fun.
Yeah, season 20 is good. I like season 20. Season 21 is where it starts getting a little long in the tooth, but
Understandable.
but then again, the last 2 stories are real good in season 21. So
That's when it started happening for Supernatural.
season 21, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's about where it started working out. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't have anything else. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I never have to watch that story again.
You don't know that.
You don't know that. Yeah. Anyway.
Knowing it was the Master made that reveal worse for me. Like, I don't know about you,
That's
but I'm like, this is so stupid. I hate this. Like,
Yeah.
just muttering to my cat.
I just hate Time Flight. It's really bad. Again, the first part of it, the first episode is pretty good. Like, I like the first episode actually. It's everything after that I just want to gouge out my eyes.
It's weird thinking now that we actually haven't missed anything.
What is
Like,
that?
it feels like there's a whole episode that we haven't talked about.
Oh yeah, I know.
Because we barely talked about the episode, like plot wise, but there's nothing.
There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, there's just like a bunch of people like seeing stuff that isn't there, and then like working together as a team to build stuff. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the parents plot in the Power Rangers movie.
Oh yeah, where it's like I'm enslaving these people and making them like chip away at a rock.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the Master, oh man, if Ivan Ooze had taken off his costume and he was the Master the whole time, that would have been pretty good. That would have been pretty good.
Taking another quack at it.
That would have been pretty good.
Oh.
Yeah, when I found out who played Ivan Ooze, that like blew my mind.
Yeah.
I don't remember what. I found that out on a podcast. I don't remember which podcast it was.
It was Cornetto Minute because he's played by Mr. Paul Freeman.
All right. That's right. Yeah. Man.
What?
Yeah. Paul Freeman plays Ivan Ooze.
Belloc from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, Belloc from Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh, it's the most insane thing. Good
All
Lord.
right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us on this, our most exciting adventure.
Yeah.
As always, you can find us on Facebook group, unless you deleted your Facebook, Patreon, duelinggenre.com/support. TeePublic, we have all kinds of great shirts. duelinggenre.com/merch. Let us know if there's any fun Doctor Who merch you would buy. Fat Stupid Robots is coming, we promise. Eventually, we just have to work out all the kinks. Amazon.com, duelinggenre.com/Amazon helps us out a little bit. And we will see you guys next time for Revelation of the Daleks.